Those invisible plastics are why we're here today. Like people shed skin cells, plastics shed particles of plastics. These can be big microplastics, which range from half a centimeter down to a micrometer or a micrometer. A micrometer being less than 1/70th the size of human hair. Or they can be as small as nanoplastics, which are even smaller than a micrometer. Not surprisingly, we're finding microplastics everywhere, on top of mountains, at the bottom of the sea, in the food we eat, in the air we breathe, in drops of rain, and even drops of our own blood. Microplastics have been found in our livers, our lungs, and the breast milk we feed our babies. Even when folks try to avoid using plastics, products like paper cups and aluminum cans now have plastic linings. This should set off public health alarm bells for everyone because microplastics leach chemicals. Chemicals like endocrine disruptors that affect the reproductive system and are a major suspect in the decline of male fertility worldwide. Chemicals that lead to weight gain, chemicals that lead to insulin resistance, chemicals that cause cancer. Congress has taken important first steps to address plastics in our water, like the Microbead-Free Waters Act of 2015, based on the research of one of our witnesses, Dr. Mason. This legislation banned cosmetics with intentionally added plastic microbeads that did nothing for consumers, but did pollute our waterways. Since then, we've learned that the problem of plastic pollution is so much more extensive than microbeads, and so much smaller, too, in terms of micro and nanoplastics. Microplastics shed into our water every time we use plastic water bottles. Every time we wash clothing made from a whole series of products that we may not even think of as plastics, but are plastics. Nylon, polyester, other synthetic materials. Every time it seems that water interacts with plastic. Our water treatment systems filter out many harmful contaminants, but the filters have plastic components that could be inadvertently polluting the water with microplastics. And we can't forget that biosolids from wastewater treatment and agricultural fertilizer also contain microplastics. And when those biosolids are put onto lands, they can run off into our streams and waterways, creating additional plastic challenges, which is why I've introduced the Research for Healthy Soils Act to make this a high-priority research area for the Department of Agriculture.
This is good news. President Biden has officially signed a very important piece of legislation into law. Officials say this bill will fund the government for a short period of time and avert a government shutdown from occurring this month. However, experts say there are still things that Americans should watch out for in the economy. My dear friends, please make sure that you watch until the end of this video. Also know that I'll be giving away a $75 Walmart gift card every Friday. If you would like to enter these weekly giveaways, please click and like several of my videos and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you comment on, the greater your chances, friends, of winning these giveaways. According to CNN News, President Biden signed a stopgap bill into law on Friday to prevent a partial government shutdown at the end of the week. This action came as Congress faced a looming shutdown deadline. The stopgap measure extends funding on a short-term basis and establishes two deadlines on March 8th and March 22nd to allow for the finalization and passage of full-year funding bills. Earlier in the week, congressional leaders announced an agreement on 6 appropriation bills with the intention of enacting them before March 8th. The remaining appropriation bills to fund the rest of the government are set to be finalized and passed before March 22nd. Both the House and the Senate passed the bill on Thursday. House Speaker Mike Johnson, who was facing pressure from conservative members, defended his handling of the spending talks. He explained to reporters that divisions within the GOP had made it necessary to negotiate with Democrats to pass bills with a 2/3 majority. Speaker Johnson, who assumed the position after conservatives ousted former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy last year, acknowledged the challenges of navigating the appropriations process, but emphasized the importance of moving away from omnibus bills to smaller, more manageable pieces. The 6 bills that lawmakers have agreed upon cover funding for various departments and agencies. That is including agriculture, energy and water development, military construction, veterans affairs, and housing and urban development. The remaining 6 appropriation bills, set to be voted on before March 22nd, include funding for defense, financial services and general government, homeland security, labor, health and human services, and state and foreign operations. Also, friends, according to the Associated Press, an inflation gauge favored by the Federal Reserve showed an increase in January, indicating that the deceleration in U.S. consumer price growth is occurring unevenly from month to month. The government's latest report revealed a 0.3% rise in prices from December to January, up from 0.1% in the previous month. However, the year-over-year increase in prices was just 2.4%, down from 2.6% in December, and marking the smallest such rise in nearly 3 years. While the slowdown in inflation over the past year may be welcomed by the White House, as President Biden seeks re-election, millions of Americans remain frustrated by overall prices. This sentiment, reflected in various public opinion polls, may pose a great challenge to Biden's re-election bid. The month-to-month increase in January may reinforce concerns expressed by Federal Reserve officials about the risks of prematurely cutting interest rates this year. Minutes from the Fed's recent meeting showed that most policymakers were cautious about reducing rates too soon, emphasizing the need for sustainable inflation, returning to the Fed's 2% target rate. Experts also have noted that the latest data validates the Fed's caution, indicating their desire for increased confidence before making significant policy changes. Excluding volatile food and energy costs, core prices rose 0.4% from December to January, which is the largest increase in a year. Compared to a year earlier, core prices rose 2.8%, suggesting ongoing inflationary pressures. But despite recent fluctuations, most economists expect a gradual slowdown in inflation in the coming months. However, consumer pushback against high prices, especially for essential goods, has contributed to a more moderate pace of inflation in some sectors. This trend, coupled with a steady flow of job seekers, has helped contain inflationary pressures. So, dear friends, what are your thoughts on this? Do you agree that inflation is continuing to cool down? Please let me know in the comment section below. Well, my awesome and amazing friends, that is the end of my daily stimulus update video for today. My dear friends, thank you so much for being part of this community. To say thank you, I will be announcing several winners for the Walmart gift card giveaway. If you would like to enter these weekly giveaway, friends, please make sure that you click and like several of my videos, and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you comment on, the greater your chances, dear friends, of winning these giveaways. Thank you, and have a wonderful and very blessed weekend.